Look, I just wanted to start out by saying I'm the director for North Region for DAF, have been for a while, but area-wise, it's Bowen out to the Northern Territory border and up to the Torres Straits, if you can just think of that sort of geographic area. I guess we deal with everything from major regional impacts to agriculture and ag supply chains, which actually then trigger the disaster recovery funding arrangements that Cherie spoke to, right the way down to events or disasters that impact an individual property, where we can activate what are known as IDSPs, or individual disaster-stricken property assistance. And obviously we deal with everything in between. I myself, I'll share with you that I sort of cut my teeth at the pointy end of this business through Tropical Cyclone Larry in 2006. There's been a couple of really solid learning curves since then, with Yazi in 11, Debbie 2017, obviously the floods that emanated here and then spread into the northwest, with a reported 500,000 head perishing in 2019. I've also dealt with fires, floods, violent storms, frosts, which aren't actually recognised as a natural disaster, but nonetheless. And the other thing our business deals with is obviously pest and disease incursions, of which we have had a few notable ones in over the years, and some that are currently enduring. Panama, obviously, in the bananas, and some clear and present that's on our doorstep, particularly with the animal diseases that are now presenting in the Asia Pacific rim above us. I just wanted to start quickly by, if people may, at the highest level, there is a state coordination group that's run out of Karen. Underneath that, there are groups dotted around the state district disaster management groups. That's typically outside of the state level where DAF participates. And then underneath that, you have local disaster management groups, which are run at the local government level. So DAF have a number of representatives that sit on the district disaster groups, and we support local government a few times during the year, but mostly when their recovery groups stand up and there are specific issues where they need agricultural ag supply chain expertise. DAF, at the state level, there is an emergency management plan. DAF has its own at a state level. And then at each of DAF's regions, of which there is 3, South, Central, North, we also have individual emergency management plans. They set the framework for how we operate. Underneath those plans, we have typically an event controller who will take control of not only the preparatory and planning work, but also response and recovery. And that controller is supported by a regional disaster response team. And that team, as Cherie spoke to earlier, has sector or discipline specific expertise, which are deployed to work with industry, local government and producers to do the impact assessments. So that actually demarcates the impact area, the nature of those impacts, the agricultural businesses and supply chains that have been impacted. And then from there, we compile a business case that then gets mooted through government and up to the feds. And then when agreed to, that triggers the activation level under disaster recovery funding arrangements. The other thing I just want to let people know is that DAF utilises now a referenced impact assessment tool. It is called Survey 123. It enables us to take photos. The other thing I just want to let them know is our Minister, Mark Ferner, at this time also has an agricultural coordination group. which is convened in relation to major events or impacts, etc. And it is that mechanism that is the primary vehicle through which we engage peak industry. So ag force, cane growers, program, Queensland seafood industry, all the industry mix. The other one is that I just wanted to touch on, obviously, the importance of these emergency animal disease issues. I don't want to downplay the significance of that, particularly given the dominance of grazing in Queensland. And I think everyone would be aware we've got a clear and threats that currently aren't here, but we are really working hard to reduce the risks, and specifically around foot and mouth, lumpy skin disease, African swine fever, and Japanese encephalitis are top ones that sort of come to mind at this point in time. So, in a regional context, we deal with a range of impacts. And so let's pick an intensive grazing sector. That can be anything from, and obviously intensive with lots, etc., but fire, flood, temperature variations. And I guess I come back to 2019 as an excellent case in point, and I just wanted to walk you through, I guess, how that played out, which was immediate engagement with mayors, and I will never forget the call from John Wharton explaining that in less than 12 hours things had turned pear-shaped, and very quickly after we had immediate responses in an emergency context where we actually had Chinooks en route and starting to plan fodder drops and other things. So that's through that LDMG, DMG state framework under the Queensland Disaster Manager arrangements that I spoke to. So we had immediate emergency support, fodder drops, followed by access and conditions allowed. For those of you that were impacted, that then moved into carcass disposal, which was quite confronting. Then the disaster funding or disaster recovery arrangements kicked in. And then, as Cherie was saying, outside of the loans and the grants, category D level assistance, which is the highest level, allows for specialist programs to come into play. And as a case in point, you may recall we had industry recovery officers based after the disaster out there for several years. And we also were able to bring in considerable mental health and broader farm financial counselling support services. And I'm going to speak to that a little bit further on. Marcus asked me to speak about specific approaches about improving preparedness, planning, etc. I have sent through some hyperlinks to some support documents. Hopefully he will share that. But over and above that, it really does come back to some common sense principles. Key to it is ensuring that you make the effort to have at least a rudimentary property management / emergency resilience or biosecurity plan for your enterprise. In an extensive context, it's about fence lines. Maintenance of fence lines has proven time and time again to be critical. Securing infrastructure in advance if you have the chance, moving equipment and livestock where practical to higher ground or safer localities. Pasture coverage, particularly towards the end of the year. And this is all about aligning stocking rates and these types of things. And obviously knowing your local disaster contacts and framework through your local government area and obviously your industry contacts. It's just critically important. And then the other thing is that I just wanted to revisit this app, the Survey 123 app. When that goes live, it's a new piece of technology, but it will allow impacted producers the opportunity in real time to upload photos supporting narrative, which obviously helps us to speed the process up to clear through the federal government and get the assistance that's required on ground. Very quickly, the other things I just wanted to talk to was drought reform in Queensland. I'm hoping people are aware there's a major reform agenda underway. And the new principle at play here is about investing in enterprise level or farm business resilience upfront. So the new framework is about developing up farm business resilience plans. There are a number of support frameworks and systems to help producers develop those. And that's where our colleagues in QWriter assist. There are obviously enduring provisions to assist impacted producers through drought. And there are also provisions in play to assist when a drought revocation is removed from a local government area to assist you in getting the business back up and running. I won't labour the detail, but there is a raft of information available here. And if you need anything further, let me know. And then the last thing I just wanted to round out with was to come back to, I guess, the broader mental health and farm financial counselling elements that are at play, particularly when you deal with the pointy end of major impacts. 2019, again, in the Northwest was an excellent case in point. We had properties pushed to the brink. They had heavy debts, etc. And we worked very closely with a number of those businesses to help engage their respective lending institutions and assist them as best we could. The second thing is that there were a number of impacts, both to staff servicing major disaster responses, governmental staff, emergency staff, etc., as well as impacted clients. And I've learned over the years with the big events how important managing the well-being of not only our impacted clients, but also the people that are servicing them. It's critically important, particularly in agriculture, because most of our staff are often embedded in that community, related to community members, etc. And it becomes a very personal thing for them. So just a few learnings, I guess, in that regard. But I'm not going to really offer much more. I'm more than happy to answer questions. But I will finish by saying I've given Marcus an undertaking that in terms of regional workshops, or if you want a more detailed face-to-face engagement around Dad's role in this space and our experiences and how we can assist, the offer's on the table where we come out and support the region